talk about reverse osmosis filters. This is a basic reverse osmosis filter. I've had this unit for maybe 8 years. I've replaced the individual components inside of it a few times. Some reverse osmosis have more canisters than what I'm showing here. I'll try and touch on that a little bit. I'm just going to give a basic overview of what it is right now and how it works. This is your supply line. The water will come from your spigot, or you can tap it into a pipe with a saddle valve. It comes in here, goes into this first canister, which is a pre-filter or particulate filter. This particular one filters down to 1 micron, so anything above 1 micron in size will not pass through this. All it does is remove particles from the water. From here, it'll go into our carbon block filter. The purpose of a carbon block filter, when used with a reverse osmosis membrane, is to remove chlorine and chloramines from the water. You want to do that because if you get chlorine or chloramines into the RO membrane itself, it'll destroy the membrane and you have to replace it. So this particular one filters to 0.5 microns, and it's got a high rating for chlorine removal at about 20,000 gallons, so you can pass approximately 20,000 gallons of water through it before it is exhausted and can't absorb any more chlorine. So after the water flows through there, it comes out and then it enters the reverse osmosis filter. This does the majority of removing any particles smaller than whatever your smallest micron level of these filters is, and comes through and passes out. You have 2 outlets. One is the product water, and the other will be the wastewater, which goes over to your sink or wherever you drain that through. I have an added deionization chamber on here, so the water passes in through the back, goes through the deionization, which removes anything that the reverse osmosis filter doesn't remove, or technically anything. And then your product water will come out here, and then you store it in a vessel or a bucket, or however you want, wherever you want to keep it. So that's the basic operation of it. Okay, let's talk about the components of this filter a little bit more. This is a standard 10-inch unit. These are the most common for home and aquarium use. The 10-inch comes from the size of the inserts that go in here, this pre-filter. As you can see, is about 10 inches in length. So these are the most common. And you can get these parts pretty much anywhere, and they're interchangeable. You don't have to go back to the same place that you bought the unit from. You can mix and match these parts. These pre-filters come in many filtration sizes. I think the most common for home and aquarium use are 10 micron, 5 micron, and 1 micron. The smaller the number, the smaller the particle it filters out. Some units will have multiple particle filters. Typically they'll have a larger micron filter first and then a smaller micron filter. I've used this one like this for many years. I've never really seen the need to have those additional micron filters. This is going to stop anything from above 1 micron. And this cartridge generally lasts me about 3 months and we go through approximately 100 gallons of product water a week. So we use this a lot, and I haven't noticed any, you know, as time goes by, the pressure dropping or anything like that. I just don't see a need for these other pre-filters on here. The carbon block, again, comes in many different micron sizes. I like to use a carbon block filter that has about the same size micron as the particle filter. I don't want to use the carbon block filter to catch particles. That's what I have this for. I only want this to remove chlorines to protect the membrane. So you can, if you want to have a 5 micron filter and a 1 micron filter carbon block, fine. I want to use this cheap filter that costs me about $2 as opposed to this that costs me $6 or $8 to catch particles. That's just me. Now the biggest part is the reverse osmosis membrane. I'll pop this out real quick to show you. Take that off. These come in many sizes too. This is a 75 gallon per day unit. It filters out about 98%. It has a rejection rate of about 98%. I see a lot of people purchase 100 gallon per day, 150 gallon per day RO membranes, and I cannot see why they need to do that. We have a system, our aquarium system is approximately 450 to 500 gallons, and this 75 gallon unit does us just fine. So this is our membrane, 75 gallons per day. These should last 3 years, 4 years. I think this one is about 4 years old and it's still working just fine. The key to that, like I said earlier, is replacing this carbon block so you don't get chlorine into this filter, and it should last many, many years. When you replace this, you got to make sure it's pressed in real far, seated all the way in there. Just like that. And then let's move on to the deionization. With this membrane removing about 98%, that leaves only 2% of ions and other things that this won't remove to remove. One thing I wanted to state about the larger 75 or 100, 150 gallon per day membranes, a lot of those are not true reverse osmosis. They are nano filters or micro filters, and they have some of them have a rejection rate of around 94%. So that leaves a whole lot more for your deionization to filter out, and this can get expensive after a while. One of these cartridges will last me 5 to 6 months. It's full of beads, deionization resins, and the more you can filter out with this, the more money you're going to save, and the less often you're going to have to change this part of the filter out. So I would, really recommend looking at the rejection rate of the membrane to make sure that you're getting a true reverse osmosis membrane and not a nano filter or something like that. So put this back on here. Actually, I'm going to leave this out because I'm going to show the rejection rate here. I'm going to turn this back on and show you some of the other components that are on here. So we'll put that back in like this, and I'll be right back.